buddy.
Awesome. Hey.
Thank you for not ass styling me butt-ass naked again.
You're welcome. That was an accident.
Right.
Complete accident.
That's great.
It'd be a better story if it had been on purpose.
Right. I think it was. He's just saying accident to cover.
I rolled over onto my phone and happened to accidentally click Zach's number, type it in, press call.
All with your butt?
Yeah. Yep, yeah. All with the left cheek.
Welcome to Flavor Balance Heat, the podcast for hot sauce lovers and makers.
I'm Spike.
I'm Zac.
And I'm Claire.
And today we're talking to Tamaris from Hawaiian Hot Teas. How you doing?
Hey guys, how's it going? Aloha.
Good.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Wow, you guys sound so tropical.
Welcome to the shit show.
Thanks for the invite.
I had a chance to go to Hawaii last year and wasn't able to take it was free trip and I wasn't able to take it. So
I mean,
I'm hoping that comes around again.
Man, I've had a lot of family members that have taken us up on the offer because as soon as we moved here, we're like, oh, we're going to have an extra room. You guys can come visit. And, that's kind of like the nice thing you say to people. Like, we've had a lot of people take us up on that offer. They're like, hey, I'm coming out to Hawaii. Remember you said we can come? I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. We have extra space in our house, and I'm like, our dog's an asshole, and he will not let you in here. You got to go fucking stay somewhere else.
Yeah. I asked Zach if I can come over and cuddle one day, and he was like, oh, I'd love it, but I can't because my dog.
All right, man. So tell us your hot sauce history. What got you into spicy foods and starting a hot sauce business?
So I kind of give credit to both my dad and to my wife. One, my dad, because when I was a kid, he used to put Tabasco in my mouth when I would say any kind of bad words or do anything bad. And it got to the point where he was giving me spoonfuls all the time. So I almost think I invented spoonfuls every day, not Saturdays only. But yeah, it got to the point where he's like, all right, I got to try something else. This isn't working. This kid likes hot sauce. But I think you guys had, I don't know if was his name Roger, that owns the shop. It was a couple shows ago.
Yeah, Roger.
So he was talking. Yeah, he was talking about the Hot Licks shop down at Seaport Village in San Diego.
Yeah.
So I'm originally from San Diego. Sorry, Zach, you're surrounded by Californians again. But originally from San Diego, and I used to go to that Hot Licks shop all the time and try their sauces. And then I would bring them to school, and I would give it to people at school. And I just always loved hot sauce, but I never thought it would be a job. About maybe 2 years ago, I was working at Dirty Birds in San Diego. Shout out to them. They have amazing chicken wings, 36 plus flavors. And while I was working there, I would mix their different flavors to come up with combinations that I liked. And that kind of sparked my interest in liking mixing sauces. So when I met my wife, she's in the Navy. So going through boot camp, she eats real fast. So by the time she was done with her meal, I would still be mixing together my sauces and coming up with the flavor that I wanted for my meal. And she's like, are you ever going to eat? And I'm like, yeah, hold on. I'm almost done with my sauce. So it got to the point where she actually bought me a hot sauce making kit off of Amazon just for fun. It was for my birthday. And I took it to my family's house, and with my brother and my father, we mixed together these couple little hot sauces. They gave little spice packs. They gave some freeze-dried fruit, couple dried peppers. And after mixing it all up, we were like, hey, let's put our own little twist on it. So we would go in the fridge and find a couple things. And we tried it that night, and it was all right. But the next day we tried it and we loved it. And we're like, oh my God, this is so good. And we only had maybe 6 bottles. But my wife and I actually drove from San Diego to Mississippi for her combat school there. And the whole way there, all the places we stopped for food, we were trying our hot sauces out. And then when we got to Mississippi, we were out of hot sauce. And so I had to sit in a hotel room for a month while she was going to school. I was like, what am I going to do? So I went to the nearest Walmart and bought a blender and bought some produce and then bought some peppers. And I started making hot sauce in the kitchen. And she came home, or she came back to the hotel and opened the door. Was like, oh my God, what's going on in here? I'm like, sorry. And I was like, obviously my second time ever making hot sauce. So I was experimenting with like some ghost peppers, some reapers, and man, I just made like a smoke show in there, and it scared her away. But we ended up going to like Dollar Tree and buying some of those olive oil bottles and filling those up. And then we had to drive up the East Coast all the way up to Philly, but we stopped along the way. So we stopped in Florida, we stopped in South Carolina, we stopped in Baltimore, we stopped in Virginia, and then we had family in Philly. And all those places, we just handed out hot sauce to people. And then we had to go over to Ohio, where my wife's from. And so in Ohio, we ended up handing out hot sauce there. And from there, we flew here to Hawaii. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do for work because I had left everything to be with my wife. And when I got here, I was like, okay, so what's something that Hawaii has plenty of? And they have a lot of fresh fruit. There's a lot of fruit that grows wild. There's a lot of tropical fruit. And I was like, okay, so what don't they have a lot of? And I realized they don't have a whole lot of hot sauce options out here. So I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll try to take the better of the two, put it together, and I'm going to start making Hawaiian styled hot sauces. And that's where it started, and it's just taken off from there. But I think I'm probably the youngest in the hot sauce industry that you've had on this show so far, Spike. I've only been doing this since May of last year.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, this is great.
So May was actually when I purchased our business license. And man, if I would have known all that went into it, I might not have done it. But like,
yeah,
I hit like a halfway point. I was like, man, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. But then I was like, well, I've already paid for the license. I've already paid for the website. I've already paid for this. I might as well just finish going the rest of the way. So
go for broke,
it wasn't
man.
until, I just kept pushing. And I mean, I didn't have a job, so I just sat in hotel rooms and worked on all of our licensing, worked on our insurancing, and worked on our names, our labels, our ingredient lists, everything. And then I think October of last year was when we went to our first farmers market. And so it's just over a year that we've been in business.
And I bet they have great farmers markets out there.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous. It's like people live for the farmers markets out here. I do like 5 markets a week.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. And there's probably about 20 to 25 markets a week here.
That's
Why
incredible.
aren't you at every single one of them?
It's just me and my wife doing this business. I wish we had employees, but we haven't really branched out yet.
Man, let me tell you, when I first started out, okay, I would drive an hour up this fucking mountain to do a farmer's market, run out of sauce, drive an hour back down, hit the fucking kitchen, sleep for 3 hours, and then drive the fuck back up the next day. It's all about how bad you want it, man.
Is that really what everybody should be doing, though, Zach?
I know, because I fucking don't do markets.
Yeah, don't you only do like a couple markets now?
I only do really 1 market a year.
Yeah. So we actually so recently we went to the Fiery Foods Festival in Columbus. That was really fun, and that was our actual first hot sauce festival. We wanted to go to the New York City Hot Sauce Expo, but we weren't selected in the raffle, and then ended up finding out that there was the Columbus Fiery Foods Festival, which we didn't even know was a thing. And just so happened we had found out my wife was going off to boot camp to become an officer. And this was a month before she went to boot camp. So we're like, hey, let's go to Ohio, say hi and bye to your family. And then we can also knock out this hot sauce festival. It would be an awesome trip. And it was. We met some really cool people.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of great people from the hot sauce industry in Ohio anyway. So.
Yeah.
How was that Hawaii or the Columbus Hot Sauce Festival? Was it Columbus or the Toledo?
It was Columbus, and okay. I mean, I had a great time. I mean, just meeting the other hot sauce creators. I call us hot sauce magicians because I think we make magic and then we funnel it into little bottles. Like some of the sauces are just insane. Like in the combinations, I'm like, how did someone even think of that? Like with some of these combos that people come up with.
I love the networking aspect of going to the shows. That's actually
Yes.
basically what I do. I'll go to the show as a customer, and then I'll just go around meeting everybody, talking to people, and just you make connections.
Yeah. So here in Hawaii, we don't. Well, the markets that I go to, I'm usually the only hot sauce vendor there, and
Really?
I mean, yeah. So I go the Aloha Stadium here in Oahu. I'm the only hot sauce vendor there. There's one other guy. He's a distributor. He like buys other people's sauces and he redistributes them. And he's offered to buy our sauce. He's like, oh, if you ever don't want to come to the market, just like you can sell me your sauce and then I'll distribute it for you. But I mean, I like going there. I like talking to people, especially when I come across those few random people that really like hot sauce and want to talk shop. I'm like, oh yeah, like let's chit chat. And I'm sure I lose business over it because people like won't approach the booth if I'm in like deep combo with someone, but I'd rather have that conversation with someone. And that was the cool thing about Columbus was my wife and her sister were there. So I was able to be like, hey, you guys got this? And then like I would run out and go talk to some of the other vendors and I got to try some other people's sauces.
I'll tell you something. This year was the first year that my wife and I weren't the only, well, the very end of last year actually was the first time that my wife and I weren't the only ones doing our farmers market. It's a busy market.
Yeah.
And so we had at first one employee helping us, and now we've got two. And it frees me up because everybody wants to talk to me. And we keep our sales at least doubled, if not sometimes tripled. I mean,
Wow.
and so they've more than paid for themselves. And it's an awesome. They're great employees too. But so when you get to that place and you're questioning whether you should do it, I would say definitely give it a shot because it's.
You mean hiring?
Well,
Yeah.
oh, I thought you were talking about the distributor guy. I was going to say that guy's going to want your shit
Oh.
for pennies on the dollar, and then he's going to sell it for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
talking about asking somebody to help do the market with you.
Well, so
Yeah,
one
so
of our winter farmers market here is actually inside a distillery, which
that's
is
cool.
just awesome. And right before the pandemic, when we don't do farmers markets anymore, but we stopped with the pandemic. But I had to be at the market as one of the rules of the farmers market, but I had to hire somebody to run the booth, and then I would just show up for the 4 hours of the market itself, and then I would just get a cocktail and go sit on the couches. And it was literally the best way to do a farmers market I've ever experienced. 10 out of 10.
Great. Yeah, it's. I mean, I love it now because we have so much help. We have a much bigger tent now, and we've got a lot more. But to have three of us going at the same time, nobody passes up our booth because it's the line's too long.
Mhm.
Well, we still get a little bit of that, but we've maxed out at what we can do. So it's awesome. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I just recently started like talking to someone about them coming on and working for us. And a majority of the reason is because he wants to make his own sauce. He has his own business. And I told him if he wants to do that, he has to understand like the grind that goes into it, that
Yeah.
we're not just out here sitting here talking to people selling sauce. So like I'll take him down to the kitchen and show him the process of the kitchen and show him that we have to
Nice.
check the pH of the sauce and show him that we have to get it up to 200. And he's like, oh my God, like, how do you do all this? I'm like, it's part of the process. If you want to make the sauce, you have to be able to do this. And he's like starting to get wide eyed. Like, I think he's starting to get that idea that I had, like, man, do I really want to do this? Like, to make a sauce?
Yeah, if I had known.
What's the regulatory scene like in Hawaii? Like, is there? I mean, there's the federal level that we're all subject to, but what are the state regulations for making acidified foods in Hawaii?
So they're also pretty strict here. I believe you guys had someone on recently that said that they have to boil all their bottles. We have to do that.
She doesn't have to. She does it because where she's at, it's cold and hot sauce in a cold bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's hot here, but that's one of the rules is apparently we have to boil our bottles. We have to boil our caps also. and
Wow,
we have to like.
no.
That's what they said. Well, they said put it in. It has to be in hot water, and then you have to take it out a minute before you start filling.
But
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Wow.
That would
But-
add more
Wow.
unsavory things than
Right.
I would not.
yeah,
It's hard too because when the bottles are wet and the caps are wet, they want to slip and they don't want to stay on. So we
And-
have to like take the caps out. We have to shake them out. We have to dry them off.
I
It's a whole lot.
honestly,
And-
I don't believe that Adobo Loco and High Spice are boiling their
Are
fucking
doing that?
bottles.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
No
I mean-
fucking way.
And if you get a process authority that says otherwise, then I don't think this. I mean, I don't know your state, but I would say that
Yeah.
they would be
Yeah.
like, "Hey, your process authority said not
Are-
to do that."
Are you
Even my
required
Even my
to work
process
with a
authority
specific?
said, "I'm sorry. Go ahead, Claire."
No, it's just are you required to work with a specific process authority, or do you get to choose?
No, I get to choose. So I was actually recently asking Zach who his was, but Zach doesn't like to respond to my messages because he's scared I'm gonna accidentally send him. He's scared I'm gonna accidentally send him nudes. So
I mean,
opens his
bring them
phone,
on.
like-
Look, man. I got a lot going on right now. Obviously, I'm
I'm
one
just
fucking
kidding.
person running around. There's a guy. I got you. There's a guy. It's
So-
like $50.
Oh, see that? Yeah, that's not bad. The process authority that I use, he also said boil your bottles, and told me how long. I don't really remember. I have the process letter, but he said boil bottles before filling. Also,
I worked with a process authority down in Massachusetts who basically would write up whatever I told him. That's when I started realizing that the rules are not set in stone by any stretch. And
Yeah.
and so I worked with him through a co-pack client, and the co-pack client said, "Oh, this is what we're doing." And then we had this funny set of rules that I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And so I called the guy and I was like, well, what should we be doing? And he was like, well, tell me what you're doing and I'll write it down. And I was like, well, what? Like that's how it works. And
that's crazy.
so, I mean, did you push back against the process authority? Did you say like, why are we required to boil our bottles and caps?
No, I mean, like I said, I've only been doing this for a year, so I kind of thought that was like typical process, and it makes sense. I mean, they want it to be super clean, like, and they don't want there like any way that any kind of extra bacteria can get in there. So I was
But
like,
it's-
okay,
It's amazing what 200-degree hot sauce will do for killing things.
right. That's what I'm thinking. I was like, the hot
Like-
sauce cleans the bottles, and then that's why you invert it to clean the cap.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah,
Yeah.
sanitize. Yeah.
Sanitize, not
Clean,
clean. Yeah.
sanitize, yeah.
Well, doesn't it?
Uh.
It sterilizes the inside because of the temperature. It actually sterilizes.
Exactly.
Well, I think
Yeah.
that's the difference between sanitizing and sterilizing. I think it sanitizes, it doesn't sterilize. Sterilize is like hospital clean. Sanitize is just killing
Food safe.
boiling level bacteria. There's bacteria above that like can survive boiling water temperatures, and so sterilize kills all of that.
Really,
Sanitize is just.
I thought
It's just, like,
sanitize was
boiling level.
the.
I could be switching them
Yeah,
around, but
I
they are
think-
two different things.
Well, the only reason I'm saying that, and I'm not trying to but I
No,
just
I
was
could be wrong,
reading
it's
it,
fine.
and I think it was the other way around. That's why I was saying that.
I could be wrong.
And
I feel like a
sterilizer.
sterile environment
Right.
is cleaner than a sanitized environment.
Right.
I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember which one I said, but that sounds right.
Yeah.
Sorry about
Well, no,
that.
I think I think that's what you said, Claire. I think you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. But
Or
you know,
ma-
I think that I'm also curious, what caps do you use? Because I know when I started doing hot sauce, not knowing anything, I remember my bottle supply company was like, no, you can't boil these. These aren't boilable.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, like,
So
I mean, a lot of hot sauce stuff is not boilable.
yeah, well, I use plastic with the plastisol inside of it, and so I think on my process letter it says heat it to I can't remember, but it might be like 95 degrees for like a minute or something like that. So not boiling, but like I have to
For the
put it
cap?
in. Yeah.
Okay, well, there's a lot that can survive 95 degrees. Like
Yeah.
that.
Well,
I mean,
then
human
then he's
beings
putting-
can survive 95 degrees.
Right.
And then he's putting like 200-degree hot sauce in the bottle and capping it.
Yeah, exactly.
And inverting it after that. So it's like Why
Why am I
do
even
that?
doing this?
Yeah.
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 Well,
redundant as fuck.
On top of that, my question would be that little styrofoam insert.
Yeah.
Well, he said plastisol.
That's right.
It's not a
Okay.
pulp liner.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Which and plastisol can survive that, but a lot of the caps don't like plastic caps don't like boiling. They
Yeah.
warp.
Well, and I would
exactly.
worry that any liquid that gets under that at all, if there's
Yeah.
any, then when you cap it, that's not going to necessarily it may insulate it enough to not get up to temp, and then you're going to have something that can contaminate the bottle.
Yeah, like if the water goes under
Or
the
if it can
plastisol
leak-
and
yeah,
in
if it
between the
can get-
plastic.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why.
The fun stoppers.
Maybe that's why when I got my bottle, I had a few leaking bottles because of that process.
Yeah, I did too.
Man, it's a pain. Like some bottles will start leaking. I'm like, why? Like so Zach, I sent Zach some bottles, and he was like, oh hey, I got a couple bottles that were leaking, and I was like, what? Because I'd never heard that before.
I did
and
too.
I'd also just started using this different company for bottles and for lids. And then so I actually sent them a recording of me twisting the lids on the bottles, and then just kept spinning.
Oh.
And then I was like, hey, look, like your lids aren't staying on the bottles, and the bottles are leaking, and I'm having to like throw away product, and I'm having customers tell me that like the bottles are leaking, and that's not cool because that means it's not sealing properly. And so they were like, oh, that can't be possible. And I was like, well, do a test yourself. And then they ended up actually sending me another 5,000 caps because they said that those ones were too tall. And the one that they gave me, the plastisol was a little bit thicker also. So when it goes down the lid, it creates that like squeeze.
Got it.
we had some over plastisol caps a while back, and we still get them every once in a while, and they end up crooked and cause leaks and all sorts of issues. That's part of the reason we leave our bottles inverted for a while, because that will reveal a multitude of sins.
Yeah.
So question for you guys, can you leave them inverted for too long?
No.
Nope.
Yes.
I didn't think so.
According to my
Yes.
book, you can. Yeah, you only should invert them for I think it says a day. I have to double check it. It's in my
if you've got a seal.
Promise you, man. I promise you. Okay, cold fill process. You have to leave shit inverted for 2 weeks at a certain temperature. Like you know.
You know, I know what you're saying, except that I remember it from my Better Foods book. I'll find it and I'll show you what I read, but I don't remember how long they said.
I guess I would be curious to see that. I'd be curious about the science on that, because I mean, I use plastisol too, so it could be different with different liner types.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
Fair enough.
But you have with plastisol you have a hermetic seal. So once you have a hermetic seal, your bottle doesn't know if it's upside down or right side up or anything. And that seal would be complete once the sauce is cooled. Once it's
exactly, and after a full
hours.
day, it should be cooled, right?
You know, and I could see some argument for like 5 minutes or something like that for some short period of time when it's still hot. But at a day, it's going to be a fully sealed environment.
I don't remember their reasoning for it. I just remember the answer about it. But I'll see if I can find it. I wouldn't care either way. I just thought, oh wow, okay. So because I would put them into the things and leave them, and then we can do that after that.
I'm also curious because most of the Better Process Control School is really about low acid, not high acid. So I wonder if that might be a low acid thing.
No, it was definitely during the hot fill hold section.
Interesting. I'll have to go back and look.
I'll find it. It's in my book. I'm 95% sure it may have been part of the lecture of the video, but I do remember it. And that was the reason why we changed our process and not leaving them upside down, because we did. And then we went, oh, okay.
What
cool.
What Better Processing School did you go to?
Tennessee.
I think
online,
we did Tennessee as well. Yeah.
Did you guys get the audiobook?
No, it was they sent a textbook, and then we had to listen to lectures. It was like 8 hours of lectures, and the tests were actually pretty hard.
Yeah. So I took University of Tennessee also, and they actually made me buy a Kindle book. Yeah, so it was like
Really?
a book on my phone. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess. And they never sent me a hard copy book.
COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No,
No.
because I went to University of Tennessee during COVID, and they sent me a book.
Mine was last year, so it should be like out of COVID times.
Yeah, and then
Mine was long before COVID.
Yeah.
So
Claire's the old head in
I'm
the group right
I'm
now.
the old school.
We did ours.
Actually,
I actually did mine late because I had somebody working for me at the time who had the better process control school thing. So I didn't have to do it in the very beginning because I was working out of a shared kitchen. So when I finally got around to it, I was like, oh shit, I got to do this. But it was,
We're about ready to send our lead bottler to do it.
yep, I'm going to do that too. And GMP and HACCP and FSMA and all the fun stuff.
Oh yeah.
all the things I have to look forward to.
I think GMP I did on a business trip, and it was something that I was getting I mean, because GMP and is so similar to ServeSafe and all of those that I think I just skipped the entire like every chapter. I would fast forward it and do the test and just see what I got. So I mean,
Guys,
maybe I'm not supposed to admit that.
I found my schedule letter. It says heat caps, bottles, and orifice reducers in hot water at 185 degrees Fahrenheit for 1 minute. So
Interesting.
1 minute at 185, I guess that's probably not long enough for the caps to warp.
Yeah, but you're putting 200-degree sauce in it, so it's like
Right.
it's redundant as fuck, no matter how you want to look at it.
Well, and then you have the potential of contamination with the water. Like that's, dry processes are inherently cleaner than wet processes.
That's what my biggest concern would be, that water, because at some point that water is going to drop in temperature and things
Right.
can enter it. And, you're not going straight from that hot water to capping it, right?
Yeah.
You are. So
I take it straight out of the hot water. Yeah, I wipe off around the rims, and I air dry the caps so they can actually stay on. Because, like I said, trying to twist wet cap on wet bottle.
At that point, the 185 that you just had that cap in for 1 minute is null and void because now it's exposed to the elements.
Yeah.
It's
like an extra step for nothing. But
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
what my process authority said.
Let's get you a new process authority, dude, because that is bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is your process authority in Hawaii, or are they on the?
No, so I went on a website that had a ton of different process authorities, and I think I talked to about 4 or 5, and I found a guy that said he could do it the quickest, like the turnover rate, because I had my sauces, I was like ready to get it rolling, and some of the people had it's gonna take us a month to get you your letter back, and this guy was like, oh, it should take about a week if everything goes smoothly, and I was like, okay, that's cool. So I ended up going with him, and he gave me a deal because I did multiple sauces with him.
I guess I do have a question. Is what are your threshold temperatures? Because I wonder, we're all assuming it's 200-degree sauce. Is it 200-degree sauce?
So I do 200, but he has there's like a scale. So I can heat it at 200, and then it's good to go. Or I can go to 199 for 1 second, or 198 for 2 seconds, and onward. But I just heat everything to 200.
Right.
Ours is 190 for
1 minute.
yeah, I think it's 1 minute. For some reason I'm thinking 3 minutes, but it's 190 for 1 minute, and then we have to bottle it 180. That's for the glass.
So because the way that I bottle, because I still bottle in such small batches, I still only use a 5-gallon pot. So all my batches are very small batch. But I blend in the bucket, pour it into the pot, heat the pot to 200, and then I pour the pot into a cranker. And so I have to pump them out quick because I don't want the temperature to start dropping.
Oh, you're not
So I
using a
make
handy
sure-
filler, are you?
A handy?
No, he's using
I
what
had one
Tim
of
uses.
those.
Yeah.
That was
It's
awesome.
like $350, $400 and it's not worth it, I'm good. I'm glad
and
that's
it's
not what
just
you
the
have.
most ridiculous workout.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
is that why you got one buff arm, Claire?
Yeah, it's like, sorry, my arm's stuck like this, guys.
My sauce has chunks too. It just doesn't. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
awful. I hated that.
Oh my God. If it gets chunky, there's like a spring in there that'll get like pineapple or garlic or something stuck in it. And then the machine will like leak the whole time I'm trying to fill.
Oh.
I'm like, this
Yeah.
is so annoying. I hate this thing.
Can't you just
Right.
do a beer kettle?
Yeah, get a beer kettle.
Well, I have a machine on the way. So we did have one of our sauces filled at a co-packer. And the co-packers here, so there's only one co-packer on island. And the wait is I think it's about a 6-month wait. So it's like not worth it for me. Like I had one sauce filled by them and it was a 20-gallon fill. And he said, this is a test batch for 20 gallons. The most we can do is 60 gallons. And I have to bring the bottles in. I have to bring all the materials in. I have to bring labels in. And then
Do it yourself.
they blend everything. They heat it. They fill. They label. They do everything after that, but I have to bring them everything. So I figured, hey, at that point, why don't I just buy the machine? If I'm going to be paying you guys just to blend it, fill it, like I already label all my other bottles. I already fill all my other bottles. So I just bought a machine that does like 40-gallon fills. So I'm waiting for that to come in.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right, we're gonna move on to the second question yet.
That's me. This is
We
a
already got
new
past
How's
the
that
third
section.
timer
question,
looking?
Yeah, this is a new section. So I put a word out on a Facebook group for questions for people, and I got a ton of questions to ask people. So I thought I'd give them, put them on here. So let's see. Sam Schreiner asked, is your spouse or significant other involved in the business? What's their heat tolerance like?
So, yes, my wife is involved, but right now she's at boot camp. She has about a week and a half left out of 3 months. So I've been basically doing everything myself. But when she is here, yes, we're a team. Usually I'll crank and she'll cap. And then she works all week at the Navy. And then on the weekends, she comes with me to the market. So I feel bad for her because like there's hardly days where we get to actually go explore Hawaii and like go in the water or go on hikes or stuff. So we set Saturdays aside so we can do that. But her heat tolerance has gotten better. When I first met her, it was pretty low. Her family used to joke that she thought the Cool Ranch Doritos were spicy. And now her favorite sauces are third spiciest, are Oahu onion.
Awesome.
So I'm like, oh, okay, you're getting up there. So I actually I saved some of both of your sauces, Spike and Zac. So when she gets back, she can try them. But it's hard because they're sitting in the cabinet and they stare at me every day I go look in the cabinet. I'm just like,
That's great.
looking. Yeah, I'm saving the Verde from Zac for her. And your bourbon and peaches one.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I've been using your cilantro a lot. Big cilantro fan. So
is Zac.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Produce is so expensive here.
Yeah, I
Cilantro
bet, dude.
is like, I think cilantro is about $1.50 a bundle here,
that's all right.
and it's like a small bundle, like probably about maybe 20 stalks. Is that what they're called? Stalks.
Is there much farming on the island? Like, can you get locally grown, or is it?
Yeah.
I mean, why is it so expensive?
So I do try to support local with like everything. Some of the peppers are hard to find local because a lot of people on the island don't eat that spicy. They make a lot of chili pepper water, which is made with Hawaiian
Right.
chili peppers, which Hawaiian chili peppers, they love the heat, so they grow wild here on the island. So
That's awesome.
those can be easy to find, but at the same time, white flies love those plants also. And so do the birds. The birds know where all the Hawaiian chili peppers are. So whenever they get to ripe, the birds go eat them all. So it can be hard to find peppers, but a lot of the other stuff, even grown locally, is still pretty expensive. But I try to support the local farmers because, I mean, I support them. Hopefully that they'll support us in return.
Yeah.
Yep. I am just enamored of the idea of chili peppers growing wildly, though. That doesn't happen here in Vermont.
We got some wild chili peppers in Arizona. They're called chiltepine.
Yeah, that's right. I
Really?
remember we were talking about those.
It's actually the only native pepper to the United States, and it just happens to be native to the Sonora Desert. Yeah.
Wow.
You should send some
That's cool.
to Claire so she can try them out.
Yeah, I'd love to try it.
They're smoky and bitter and they're kind of gross, honestly. But
How's the heat?
they're pretty hot.
Yeah,
They're
they
pretty
got a
hot.
good.
Ask Spike.
At farmers market, somebody walked up with some. I didn't know that they were chiltepine till after. But he had walked up with some, and he's like, "Hey, I got some of these." He owns a Mexican restaurant here in town. He was like, "Hey, I got some of these from some family," and I was like, "Oh, awesome!" They look like peppercorns, and they taste a lot like peppercorns. And then they explode. They got some heat. The worst part for me is that I can handle heat all right, but I don't look like I can, and my face turns bright red, and it was hot, so I'm like, I'm used to the ride, but everybody was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. It's just hot. This is my job."
I think the Scoville ratings on them, it's like 50 to 100,000. I think.
Yeah,
maybe
it wasn't
a little more.
crazy. It was just a little over Serrano, I think.
So a little. Okay, I was gonna say
Well, the thing is that they come in hard and they come in fast and they come in brutal, and then it goes away real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
10 minutes later, I was talking to people at farmers market like it was nothing.
Yeah, 100.
Nice. So the first time I actually tried a Hawaiian chili pepper was my wife and I were actually driving to go buy some habanero plants from this guy, and I was like, "Oh, what are those?" He goes, "Oh, they're Hawaiian chili pepper. You never had them?" I was like, "No." And I mean, I love spicy, so he handed us both one, and I was like, "Okay, cool." Like, I was like, how is it compared to the habanero?" And he's like, "Oh, it's nowhere near as spicy." And I could eat habaneros pretty fine, so I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I just popped it in. My wife popped hers in her mouth, and we both kind of just looked at each other like, "Oh man." My wife beelined it to the car, and I was like, "What the heck?" So I followed her. We get in the car, and we had some food for dinner that we were waiting to eat, and she was just destroying it. It was like a big burrito. She's like, "Oh my God, that thing was so hot. Like, I thought I was gonna throw up." And so she was just in the car smacking the burrito. And I was like, "Oh yeah, it got me too." But I think Hawaiian chili peppers are around like 300,000 Scoville. So
that's pretty hot, man.
Yeah, it was pretty hot. I was very, very surprised. But they're around habanero.
Do you have a sauce with that pepper?
Yeah, so our spiciest one has it. Our Scarlet Fever.
Awesome.
And then we're working on a couple other sauces right now that have it more, just so we support more local instead of trying to branch out to find more peppers. So that way, a lot of people come up and they're like, "Hey, do you have any sauces with Hawaiian chili pepper in it?" And I don't want to be like, "Yeah, it's our hottest one," because not everyone can handle that kind of heat, but some people want to try the Hawaiian chili pepper.
Yeah.
So I'm working on a more medium, mild sauce with it in it.
Cool. I'll have to check that out. I love trying new chili peppers, and especially, wild native grown chili peppers. That's really cool.
They're awesome. They look beautiful on a bush because they grow so many different colors. They come in like green, yellow, red, orange, and they'll be completely ripe at all those different colors.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I'm Claire George. I own Butterfly Bakery of Vermont. We make hot sauce, mustard, cookies, and granola, and 100% of our products are made with Vermont ingredients. The thing that I hear most often from people is that my hot sauce tastes like the peppers that are in it. We do really simple recipes that don't get too crazy and nitpicky, just to really accentuate the flavor of the peppers that are in there. The unique thing about our hot sauces is how much we feature the farm and the relationship with the farm, and really bring the terroir of Vermont to our hot sauces. I am pretty sure I am the #1 purchaser of Vermont grown chili peppers. I would love it if there would be a legitimate pepper market in Vermont where people would know Vermont for its peppers. We're all better for supporting each other. You know, and I think that part really shows itself with the collaborations that I do with the other businesses and the other farms, that I love working together and coming up with new ideas and presenting each other with new challenges. And I think overall that's the attitude here. And I absolutely love it because that's my attitude. I try to live my life with love. The ingredients that I use, I would say that my values are reflected in that, that I use ingredients that, again, feel good, feel loving, feel supportive. The relationship with the farmer was how it all began. If I changed the reason for it being, if I went out and bought some commodity peppers, you know, it might not be as good.
Claire, I was just looking at the next question.
Which we kind of already covered.
Yeah, so if you want to just grab one that you like from the list that you sent, that would be fine.
Okay, I mean, I still asked a lot of bottle questions in there, so
sure.
I do have a question now about this topic that we can kind of elaborate on, because my caps, I believe, are polypropylene lined. What's the difference
mine are
between
too.
past?
so are yours like F217 or
Yeah.
polyvinyl pulp? F217.
No, polypropylene.
Yeah.
Well, there's F217, there's polyvinyl pulp. No, I don't know. I'm gonna be talking out of my ass if I keep listing off liners, but
F217, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
okay, because that's like the standard plastic cap liner that's like heat and acid safe is the F217. But what was your question?
What's the difference between that and the plastic? What you guys have?
Plastisol.
Yeah.
Plastisol is the stuff that's it's the stuff that you see in like ball jars, like that liner around the rim. That's plastisol, and it just softens slightly and then melts and adheres to the cap or to the bottle, so it forms a hermetic seal. Whereas the polyvinyl pulp and the F217, they form a vacuum seal, as opposed to a hermetic seal.
Okay. So would a plastic cap have that plastisol
They
stuff
can,
in it?
yeah.
Huh.
It just gets squirted in, and it's like it's like that soft gummy stuff that just squishes right in.
Tamaris, how much do you pay for one cap then?
Oh, it comes with my bottles now.
Okay.
Yeah, so now I get the fun stoppers, the caps with the plastisol in them, all with the bottles.
Okay.
So
is that because you were having issues with the previous caps?
No, so originally, like I said, I'm still doing pretty small batches, so I was ordering off of Amazon.
Yep.
And I would just order I would just order like 30 boxes of like 35 packs, and even those came with the drip stoppers, and they came with the lids. So when I came time to scale up, I was like, well, I'm going to look for the same thing. So like, why would I want to look for bottles, caps, drip stoppers all separate? Like, I'm going to look for a company that will give me all that.
Yeah, usually your glass company will also have access to the caps.
Right.
Can I ask about the drip stoppers?
Oh yeah, yeah. Why are we not giving a shit about that? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Seriously, like, don't look for a company that has those.
No, trust me, I hate those. And ask Zach. Like, when I gave him his sauces, they didn't have them on them, and because I hate using them and they're annoying, but the bottles weren't sealing correctly. So I was like, maybe if I put those on it, it'll give the bottle a little bit more height, or the cap a little bit more height. That way it'll seal more properly. But yeah, no one likes those. And my sauces are all pretty thick. So like, I've like apologized to people. Hey, I'm sorry, there's drip stoppers on it. Like, just take it off because you're not going to get the sauce out of it.
Well, Can you order, so now that you've ordered from a different place, can you just order the bottles and the regular tops?
Well, now they sent those new caps, so I don't need the drip stoppers anymore.
Oh, good.
because you got the
Nice.
plastic, whatever that's
Exactly.
called. Sorry, I
Yeah.
can't say it right now.
Plastisol.
Plastic.
Enunciate, Zach.
Motherfucker, I can't.
Okay, Claire's question.
Yeah, well, I can just, Zach, do you mind if I just steal the next one?
You go right ahead.
What, Tamaris, what are your favorite and least favorite sauces from your own line?
Ooh, that's tough. So I really like our Maui Owie. So hear me out. Everyone, I feel like, has a mango habanero.
Everybody.
Everyone has a mango habanero. And when I was coming up with sauces, I was like, okay, what's something popular that people really like? I was like, a lot of people like mango habaneros, but I wanted to put a twist on it. So I added a pineapple ghost sauce to it also. So it's a mango hab pineapple ghost with some chipotle and roasted garlic. So you kind of get all those flavors. I know you took a spoonful of it, Spike,
Yeah,
like a couple
it's really good.
episodes ago. And so I feel like I said, everyone like has one, like Zach was saying in the other episode, like it's like music back in the day. They all played the same chord, but
Yeah.
everyone added in a little twist.
Yeah.
But I think it has decent heat. It's not our hottest, but it's up there in heat, and it has good flavor. So it's a nice balance of the two. My least favorite, man, that's tough.
Well, and it doesn't have to be one that you have out there. If you never
Yeah.
want to throw your own like babies under the bus.
Hmm.
But maybe some recipe that you've worked on, or some something that's just kind of not quite hit the right note.
Okay, let's see that I've worked on. So I was working on a chipotle adobo kind of sauce, and this was like right around the time I think Zach sent me his adobo, and I was like,
Why
no
I'm clearing
way.
my throat.
Yeah, I was like, no way. Oh, mine's a lot different than yours. Mine's more
Yeah. 100%
creamy.
probably.
Yeah, mine's creamy. I use a coconut milk in it, so it's
Oh,
more of a creamy adobo.
Fucking
cool.
make that shit because I want it.
I'll send you guys some.
That sounds good.
Now it's really good, but when I was working on it initially, I was like, this isn't that good. I don't really like it. Like it's all chipotle. It's pretty vinegary, and I'm not huge on really vinegar forward sauces. Like I'm okay with if it has some vinegar, but I don't want to taste a majority vinegar because that's kind of all I focus on if I taste it. So I would say probably that first chipotle adobo that I was working on, but since then I've saved it.
I love it, saving a sauce, especially when it really seems like it's going to be impossible, and suddenly
Yeah,
you're doing
Yeah.
something, and you're like something completely non-hot sauce related, and it just floats into your head.
yes.
Yeah.
What?
I had a sauce I worked on for like 3 years, like from before the pandemic,
man.
like into the pandemic. And then finally I was like, that's it. And then I ran with it. That's my ghost food.
Yes.
So
So when you guys work on sauces, how small of batches do you work on?
What are you talking about, man? You don't just fill a kettle with something and hopefully it works out.
I can
Yeah,
see
that's what we
Zach with a
call
huge
micros.
kettle, him just throwing in a handful of grapes. Okay, 5 grapes. And then at the end, he has a whole recipe.
With
No, I
us,
do not.
it's a very small. I make maybe 5 bottles, and I run around the
Yeah.
kitchen like a madman, grabbing stuff. And my wife writes, or my daughter, one of the two of them, will follow me and write it down and weigh it for me, because
Yeah.
I am just like kind of a madman running around. And
Right.
then usually something gets not written down in there, and it gets messed
Yep.
up. And then on the remake, I'll make it better, and then we go from there. Then we do what we call, it's about a 16th batch,
Yeah.
so we can see what it's like as we're scaling it up, and then we'll go full batch.
I don't like running smaller than about 5 gallons. I feel like I get weird evaporation issues and stuff like that. So I usually, unless I'm working primarily with powders or things like that, but if I'm working with fresh ingredients, I usually don't go, I don't go any smaller than 5, but I can also taste in my head. So I usually have a pretty clear idea of what it's going to taste like before I put it in. And then I'll just do adjustments. And I often weigh out anything that I'm going to add first, and that way I can add just by feel and like smell and do all of that, and then I weigh out the end result, and then I write down how much actually went in. So
5-gallon test batch,
Oh,
and I'm doing 5 gallons as my actual product batches.
and that's what
Hey,
I was
man.
doing for years,
Yeah.
years when I started. So yeah, now we're doing 200-gallon sauce batches. So
Jesus.
I should be 200-gallon batch. So anyway,
you can climb in it. You can climb in the kettle.
yeah, how the fuck you clean that thing?
Right, that's what I was gonna ask.
You kind of you're half inside of it. When
I
you
have
kind
like
of
a hose?
figured with a scrub
Yeah,
brush.
we've got scrub brushes and hoses, and then we can take apart the agitator, we can take apart the chopper, all of those come out, and then you're in there with a scrub brush. It's got a fixed lid for half of it, so getting underneath is kind of actually the hardest part, not down below.
I have another question for you. Do you ever like do a PBW boil out on your kettle just to, like, get all of the built up funk off of it?
A what boil out?
It's called PBW. It's like an acid cleaner, and what it
Oh.
does is it's meant for like brew houses, really.
Right.
After they're
Yeah.
but you just kind of drop it in some warm water in the kettle and swirl it around for like a half hour, and your kettle comes out like clean as fuck,
The
like
it's
shiny
never-
as shit.
Our kettles are always pretty cleanable. We do have, like, some of our equipment has like agitators and something like that, and I could see something, the agitators in those parts I could see could be really great to use something like that on, but just like the bowl of the kettle is pretty easy to clean. We have had we did a batch of mustard for somebody once, like 2 years ago, and we could not get it right, and we ended up burning it, and it burned in the spout that comes off from the kettle.
I've done
And
that.
that was
No.
the absolute worst to clean, and it had eggs in it too. So there was we could not leave a trace of that behind. And
Yeah.
I just went in there with like a fork and a knife, like that was brutal. But
Yeah,
for the
PBW
most part, it's
situation
fine. Yeah.
would have been perfect.
Would have been perfect.
honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it does. It breaks down all organic material like that.
I'll have to check it out. 'Cause
Yeah.
I could see it being useful for things like that.
Yeah.
I love this podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't
much
know
has
you had so many more episodes. Like,
Wait, did you
Like-
think the first one?
no. So I was watching them, and then I watched the last one. I don't remember what the last one I watched was. And then when Zach asked me to come on, I was like, "Oh, cool, yeah." And then I went and looked at your podcast, and I was like, "What? There's been like another 4 episodes that I haven't seen?" Because I don't watch podcasts. Like, I've never really been into them, but I'll play this either when I'm making sauce or when I'm cleaning the kitchen or something. And I'm just like, this is cool. Like, because it's what I'm like interested in. And sometimes I get bored with the same playlists and stuff, like same music. So I'm like, at least here I'm like listening to something. I'm growing, I'm learning.
Well, and you can listen to
Yeah.
it too on like Spotify tells me when
Spotify.
they come up. Yeah.
Well, and,
Oh,
and it's
cool.
nice when you're not surrounded by people who are in the industry. It's really nice to just like hear people talking about the things that you're thinking in your head all by yourself a lot. So
Yeah.
before I joined the show, I like listening to it just for that reason, just to be able to, hear what other people are doing and what they're thinking about, and just talking about the things that I'm thinking about.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you have a favorite and a least favorite sauce from another company? I mean, you don't have to put anybody on blast. You just
Do it. No, no.
I mean, you are more than welcome
That's
to.
messy.
I mean, it's not that messy. You know what
So
I mean?
I'm going to talk about one that I do like.
Yeah.
Which, goodbye. There's my keyboard. Heartbeat. I really like their scorpion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Which
their
one's that
scorpion
one?
sauce,
Oh,
the scorpion one,
Yeah.
There you go.
I really like them. They're even
So I
colder
like-
than I am.
I like their scorpion, but I don't like the squeeze tops because I like to really put it on and then like squeezing, and then there'll be like a seed or something stuck in it,
yeah.
and then it just go boom and it shoots out. I'm like, okay. So I
Just
like their
take
sauce. I
this-
don't like their lids.
Just take the lid off and dump it
And
out
just
the bottom.
pour it.
Yeah.
It's the same
you would a
size. so
$5
like-
That's what I've started doing, just taking it off. You mean put another lid on it?
oh no, I
Yeah,
mean
it's
you
Just
can.
like
Yeah, I just take the top off and pour it and then put the top
Yeah.
back on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then so I'm not a huge fan of their jalapeno one though. My
Okay.
wife really likes it though. So I mean everyone has their sauces that they like.
Is that the red jalapeno?
No,
it's green?
It's a green one, yeah.
I haven't had that. I'm gonna try it. I don't know. Lately, I've just been wanting jalapeno flavor. I don't usually. It's not
Yeah.
usually my jam.
fucking grassy. You want to eat
It
grass?
is. It's a really
Oh,
grassy
you don't
flavor.
like green jalapeno, Zach?
I love green
Heck.
jalapeno. Yeah.
Zach,
I
have you
love
ever
it.
had our Belschnickels? I know. I don't think any of you have had the Belschnickels. I stole it from the office. It's Impish or Admirable. It was from the last season when Dwight Schrute ran Christmas, and he was smacking people and telling them, "Are you impish or admirable?" So I created this sauce. and
Oh yeah, I do remember that, but I
Yeah.
don't think I ever got it.
well, it's really good. And I've been eating it lately, and we only do it once a year. And anyway, it's the only jalapeno sauce we have. And so since then, I've been just like jalapeno crazy. So I'm
I
gonna
really
have to try it.
Jalapeno.
I like green jalapenos. Although, funny story, my original bakery location, we shared a bathroom with a chocolate making company next door. And so you could walk into the bathroom and then walk into the other business and, back and forth. And I had gotten it was weird. It was fine. You just locked both doors and then you had to make sure to unlock both doors when you were done. But so our hallway was where the bathroom was. And I had lined up all these boxes of green jalapenos that I needed to destem to put in the freezer right near the bathroom door. And I got a call in the middle of the night from the chocolate shop, and she was really concerned that I was having an electrical fire because all she could smell was the green jalapenos and smelled that bitterness. And she was like, "That's melting plastic. I'm smelling melting plastic. There's an electrical fire over on your side." And no, it's just green jalapenos.
It was just jalapenos.
Yeah, just jalapenos.
It's funny because when you fire roast them, they get like really sweet smelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And red jalapenos are amazing.
Oh yeah,
Love
they
those.
are.
Yeah.
Red poblanos. Have you guys had a red poblano?
No.
No.
Amazing. So
I mean,
so good.
technically, yes, because an ancho is a dried red poblano.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But not like a fresh red poblano.
No,
Just let it fully ripen. It is so good. So
Hmm.
good.
Does it get more sweet?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot more sweet, more balanced heat, poblano heat can be
Yeah.
kind of all over the place. And just and juicier but still with that that really, I don't know, people always call it smoky. I don't really think of it as smoky, but that just deeper poblano flavor.
Do you know why those aren't more readily available if they're so good? Are they more volatile?
Because it takes more time to
yeah.
grow them to
Let
red.
it ripen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Costs more money. That's
Yeah.
what savories
And-
and red jalapenos are the thing.
Well, and red jalapenos, depending on how they're grown, and poblanos, I'm sure the same way, are more prone to rot
Mhm.
before they are sold. So,
Right.
um,
Makes sense.
and I mean, probably the only reason that we can get colored jalapeno or habaneros is because green habaneros taste like ass. So
Hey, I love I love
Hey.
green jalapenos.
no
Right.
jalapenos. Yes, I love
Or
habaneros.
habaneros. No, I'm sorry.
Habaneros.
No,
Green
green habaneros
habaneros
are just awful. I hate them.
Oh, really?
Ugh.
Oh, I
Ugh.
love them.
Ugh.
That's what we use
That's
for our
probably
garlic green.
That's probably the worst green pepper, underripe pepper
Yeah.
that I've ever eaten.
Have you had a green Carolina Reaper? That's also really gross.
I mean, those aren't good to begin with. So
Well,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, haven't you guys had the green Yucateco? It's like one of the best sauces I've ever had. That is,
I don't think I have.
oh, it's so good. Try
I
it.
have. That one is pretty good.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I like that one. So another like and dislike from the same company, I would have to say is I like Tabasco's Chipotle, but I don't like their original.
Fair enough.
I feel the
Yeah.
same way.
Tabasco's Reserve is really good. I think it's a 15-year reserve. That one's really tasty.
I gotta admit, I felt really bad. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I felt really bad when Claire was like, Tabasco's not that bad, and I'm like, I disagree.
You are wrong.
I was actually been thinking about this week, and like I love when we've been talking about hot takes on the show about how and the realization that there is a sauce for everybody, and like there's one person's favorite sauce is another person's most hated sauce,
Mhm.
and vice versa. And it just I love how it's I it's so easy as a hot sauce maker, especially, or as a hot sauce fan, to say like, oh, sauces that are like this are just awful. Those are just awful, and nobody should make them, and they're just trash. And then you have a whole world of people who are like, sauces that are like this are exactly what I want, and they're the absolute best, and that's what I want to put on every meal. And I love that.
Yeah,
I
I do too.
absolutely love that. And I feel like that's especially true in the craft hot sauce world in a way that it's not in the big market hot sauce world where all the hot sauces are basically the same.
Yeah, I agree.
Flavor Balance Heat, the podcast for hot sauce lovers and makers, is brought to you by Irish Spike's unique hot sauces and Vandal pepper sauces. I'm Spike, the owner and executive saucier. Our sauces are handmade in the Pacific Northwest using the best possible ingredient. We believe that hot sauce equates to a balance of sensational heat coupled with a robust and complex flavor profile. Live your hottest life with Irish Spikes. Irish Spike's unique hot sauces and Vandal pepper sauces are available at saucecult.com.
All right, so Desert Island hot sauce. So
Ooh.
let me read this off so that it's written properly, and it has changed slightly. So Zach and I talked a little bit. We had we have not, since this whole podcast has started, we haven't had our phone calls, and we had a nice long phone call the other night. It was like meant something. It was nice.
Fucking 2 hours on the phone. I'm like, bro, I'm gonna be talking to you in like 2 days for
I
like
know.
an hour and a half.
And then he'd bring up another subject, and we keep going.
Yeah,
All right, so
Zach, you may not know it, but some people just love your voice.
it's true.
I don't know
Well,
why.
you apparently love your voice.
Yeah, you apparently. I think he loves my voice.
Yeah,
All right.
man, like 28 fucking hours of fucking flavor balance heat.
All right. What is your desert island hot sauce? This is the scenario. You're on a cruise ship. It crashes and sinks. And now you're the sole survivor stranded on a desert island. Tons of amazing food from the ship has washed ashore. You can eat anything you want, but the ship carried only one hot sauce, an entire pallet. It washes ashore. What sauce or sauces? So you could have a couple different options of what you would like to have. Like I would like it to be this or this or this that washes ashore, but it can only be one. So it can't be a mix in the palette. Would you hope to wash this ashore? It can't be one of your own. It can, however, now be one of ours if that's what you prefer.
So the food that I would hope would wash ashore would be carne asada fries.
Very specific.
Yes.
Love it.
Well,
Same
everything
thing
from
if you
the
would
ship.
asked what my last prison meal would have been.
Awesome.
And then the sauce. So as I said before, I like to mix sauces. So I think I would want some of those little red and green taco sauces that come from the taco shops.
You want red or green?
I want both, but then I would hope
You only get one.
this pops up so I can spice up that little salsa that they give you.
I love it.
Man.
So you know why we talk about this? The reason why I ask this question is because I'm always interested in the breadth of a sauce and how many foods can you. When I first started making sauce, I would make a sauce. I would take it part way, like we did one we called Muay Thai, which actually has changed now, and I did some Thai elements, but I didn't make it a Thai sauce because I wanted it to be accessible to more cuisines, and I found that didn't work very well. And so now I've kind of committed on my sauces. I like the idea of what sauces work on the most things.
Right.
So I like to ask other hot sauce makers that question specifically because of that. What works on the most things?
So that's kind of why I like this, the Heartbeat Scorpion, because I feel like it's very versatile. This can go on so many different sauces. Flavor's good. The heat's good. I mean, there's times where I'm like, all right, like I want to hurt myself. And I'll grab something a lot more spicy. But I mean, as far as overall sauce that covers, I think, everything and that I can put in a majority of meals, I think that's probably it.
I obviously did not send you fire roasted red then.
If you did, it might be one of the ones that I'm saving for when my wife gets back.
I'm just fucking with you, dude. Just fucking with you.
His fire roasted red's hot.
You know, your Ghost of Saffron was pretty good. I like the hotter Ghost of Saffron.
It's versatile, but it's not that versatile. Like it.
Yeah.
It
No.
will
I'm just
go
saying it
on
has good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good on tacos. Good on Mexican. I mean, I put it on a lot more than just that. But yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about the question yesterday, and I was like, I forgot that I even had this sauce. It was in my cabinet, and I was like, oh, like I have a few different sauces in the cabinet, but I have like Gindo's strawberry basil,
Oh.
and I'm like, okay, that's a tasty sauce, but I can't put that on everything.
I mean,
And
it
then
it just might not be good.
I mean, I'm not gonna say I wouldn't try it on everything, but I think the Heartbeat Scorpion's pretty well rounded.
What's the sauce by Palm and Acre that I love so much? Zach, I'm blanking.
The nopales.
The
grilled
nopales. I can only have that
Mm.
on a few things, but I love that sauce. But the breadth of it is not wide. It's got a narrow breadth.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just got to think outside the box. Personally, like I was putting this fucking smoked pumpkin shit on my oatmeal. You know what I mean?
I can.
Yeah,
I can
you
see
guys
that.
keep
That sounds
posting
good.
about that. It sounds so good.
Yeah,
that's
that
the
sauce is
I think
so
I want to
good.
try. Yeah,
It's a really
Yeah.
good sauce.
that's another one
100.
I'd probably have to say for my wife because she's one of those pumpkin spice during the holidays. Everything pumpkin spice.
It's not pumpkin spicy at all. Like,
No,
No, and
if you want something pumpkin spicy, grab pumpkin spikes.
pumpkin spikes.
yeah,
Do you have a
pumpkin and
pumpkin
reefer.
spice sauce?
Yeah, it's a seasonal. It's a pumpkin spike season.
Is it out now?
It is. We've got a couple, like I think a case left.
All right, I'm gonna have to order that.
So, Tamaris,
so.
what inspires you in the hot sauce world?
My dog hears you. He's like, huh?
Dog inspires you?
Yeah. Well, actually, so it's a little bit of people like you guys. It's a little bit of like my wife. Like so when I met her, I was actually bartending at Dirty Birds, and I mean I just planned on doing that, but I didn't have any like goals or anything. And she's like, "Is this what you plan on doing for the rest of your life?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" And then she was like, "Well, like I kind of see like you doing bigger things," and I was like, "Really?" And so I never really thought I had potential to do like bigger things. And I never in my wildest dreams thought I would own my own business. Just living in San Diego, it's so expensive to do everything, to own any kind of property or anything. So I was like, oh my God, not a chance. But she's really good with her money and she pushes me to do better and to do more and more. And I mean, listening to like your podcasts, like I get to hear how many different sauces you guys have, like 200-gallon pots. Like you hear about the stuff like Claire's freezer that's as big as my house. I'm like, what the heck? Like
Bigger than
when
my
you hear
house.
about that stuff, it's like inspiring to hear that because you know there's potential and you know there's opportunity for growth, and you know that like in 1 year we've gone from using a little like 5 quart pot to now we're buying a 40-gallon pot. So
Nice.
I see the potential and I look at things that you guys do and I'm like, oh, like I could do that. Like Zach was one of the first guys I talked to in the hot sauce industry, and I kind of forced him to talk to me. I forced him to be my I forced him to be my mentor. My wife said, "You need to find a mentor in the hot sauce industry."
Oh,
and this was right when Zach was going through his hot ones thing, and I was like, "Oh, this is the perfect time to ask this guy like what happened, what went wrong, so I know not to do that stuff." And I was like, he might not want to tell me. It might be a sore subject. But I mean, I'm gonna ask anyways. And he was open. He was like, "Hey, like I can tell you, like I'm not gonna say any names, but he's like, I got screwed over by a company that didn't handle my sauce. And I just continued to ask him questions, I just slid into his DMs, and he just responded. And I was like, oh, that's awesome.
I honestly enjoyed talking to you because you wanted to learn, and I knew that you were gonna do the deal. Like you weren't just gonna fucking waste my time, ask me all these questions, and then I got to the point like, okay, man, where you got to spend all this money now. I knew you weren't gonna be like, oh no, fuck that, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I didn't even know about the Better Process and Control School, and Zac was like, "Oh, have you done this?" And I was like, "Something else? Another thing to do?" I was like, "No, I haven't." I was like, "So how much did that run you?" And he's like, "Oh, it's probably around $400." And I was like, "Great, another $400 just so I can get a certificate." Like, so I was like, "All right, I guess I'll do that." And
But you know how many people don't do that though? I mean, Zac and I talk about it. People come to us all the time, and I'm sure the same happens with you, Claire, where people come and ask questions, and 3/4 of halfway through the conversation, oh, they're not going to do any of this stuff. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Well, I mean, in Vermont, we have cottage laws, so you can actually in Vermont make acidified foods without following any of those rules. I mean, you can't sell it over state lines, and you have a certain dollar threshold that you can do, but it's but people do, and but then it gives them an opportunity to get their feet under them, figure out what they're doing, and then be like, oh, maybe I can do this, and then they follow the rules.
Yeah, I didn't know there was that many rules coming in, and Zac was like, "Oh yeah, hot sauce is more regulated than alcohol," and I was like, "Oh man, this is going to be a fun journey doing all this." But like I said, I was already too deep, and I was like, "Well, let's just push it out, see how it goes."
Bro, I'm a little over 5 years into this shit, and every fucking day I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. But then I'm like, what the fuck else am I going to do? Like, I'm in too deep. I'm just in too deep. Where the fuck am I going to go?
Hey, at least you're in deep, and people really like your stuff. Like, it's different if you were in deep and you were making sauces that weren't really selling. And it's like, oh, I put enough money into this, I'm trying to chase my losses. It's like people really like support your product.
And I hear you, and I see it, and I know that it's got a huge dark cloud of debt hanging over my head that I'm trying to climb away from. It's hard, it's difficult, but you know what? I don't know, man. I thought about it today. I'm just like, fuck, man. I got to paint the outside of my house. And I'm just like, I kind of want to, like, that's what I used to do for a living. And at this point, like, I don't want to do it so much that I'm considering paying someone to do it for me because I don't want to fucking do it.
That's how I feel about cooking. I cooked for so long, and you guys, Tamaris, you made those beautiful meals. I feel guilty, actually. You were sending me pictures of these beautiful meals you made with our sauce. And I don't cook like that anymore. I hate cooking so much because I did it professionally for so long. It burnt me out. I just don't make meals like that. I made some Thanksgiving dinner for our staff, and that was really nice, and that felt good. But I actually didn't want to cook. I would have rather done something else for my staff, but it was nice to do that for them.
I feel like I've always been a cooker. Go ahead, Claire.
Oh, no.
So I've always been into cooking. Like in high school, I used to go home and all the neighborhood kids would come over to my house and I would cook them food. And my dad would be like, "Where's all the food going? Like, there's no way you're eating this much." But like the other kids, they didn't cook and their parents wouldn't come home until later on. So I always cook for the neighborhood. And right now, I'm like the cooker between me and my wife. So whenever I see sauces, I'm always like, "Ooh, you know what I can make with this?" So I'm one of those people that will make a meal for the sauce.
Nice.
And so when Spike sent me some sauces, I was like, I got a couple ideas.
It was awesome. I love that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, so sorry. No, I've come full circle. Like I was also like just so cooked out and baked out, and now I'm admin. I sit in an office and I miss being in the kitchen. And then actually I'm busy enough. My husband is the one who primarily cooks at home. So on the weekend I cook, and I love it. I love having people over. I love cooking. I love all of that. and I don't do it enough.
Well, you let me know when the weather starts getting nice, and I will drive my happy ass out there because I
Yeah.
don't fly. And
Yeah.
we'll just make a weekend
Come
of
on
cooking good food.
That sounds amazing.
Why don't you
Yes.
fly, Zach?
I do not trust people enough to get on a plane.
Scared it's gonna crash in the ocean.
I just don't. It just takes one fucking person to not do their job, dude, and that's a plane full of people that ain't making it home, and I'm not going to be that person.
Yeah.
I'm that way
mean,
about driving.
Oh, really?
You
Fuck
don't
that,
drive?
man.
You have a driver?
I drive short distances, but I don't drive long distances. I don't like it. I absolutely not. Somebody's going to turn left when they should have turned right. I'll get on a plane in a second because I'm like,
Yeah.
woohoo, we crash and it's done. But cars, man, I hate them. I don't
You
like
know
'em.
what it is, man? You want to know what it is, Spike? Why I don't want to get on a plane? It's the fucking descent before the crash. I don't want to experience that.
You get that feeling in your stomach?
Well, it's just the whole like process of the plane going down. Like, what the fuck do you do in the last 30 seconds of your life? You know what I mean? Like, you know what's
Fucking
gonna
kiss people.
happen.
Yeah, there's nothing really you
I
can
mean,
do.
I'm probably gonna be on a fucking plane with people I don't know that I don't want to touch me. You know what I mean?
So on our
You don't
You're
trip,
in my
touch you.
bubble.
It's your
I
last
know we
minutes
ain't
of
gonna
your
make
life.
it.
Just
we're about to die. Zach's like, stop touching me.
You know what? I want to tell you something. This is the funniest thing because for me, that time between we're crashing and we're going to hit the ground sounds totally peaceful. Like it's done.
Yeah.
All right. I'm all right with that.
yeah.
Oh no, me, I'm gonna be like, all right, what's my next step when we hit the water? Am I gonna survive? Am I gonna have to break a window? Am I gonna have to
Yeah.
try to get to the exit door? Like, I'm thinking of the next step.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Spike, I understand what you're saying. It should be a peaceful moment, you know? But the people around you are not going to allow that to be a peaceful moment. You know what I mean? Like, you got to fucking channel your inner Buddha in that exact moment to hit that Zen, you know? And I won't be able to do it. And it's
Yeah.
going to piss me off.
We
Well,
have
it's
a
gonna
we
be-
have we have
No,
a
no.
bridge between my grocery store and my house, and it's fine. I know it's fine. I know that it's like past all its inspections, but it just feels like a bridge that is going to go crashing into the river at any moment. And you have to wait at a stoplight on the bridge. And I have gotten into the habit of what you're saying, Tamaris, about all your plans. I have made all my plans of what I would do moment I hit the water, what I'm gonna grab, how I'm gonna cut my seatbelt, where I'm gonna grab my children, I'm gonna swim out to the river. And that's just what I do as my like entertainment while I sit on that bridge, like pretty much every day.
Claire probably only has the windows down at that stoplight. Like, in case anything happens, the windows are already down. You can already jump out.
Huh.
It's like my entertainment for that bridge while I'm waiting at the stoplight. Just like what's my plan?
Claire, do you have some OCD issues?
You have heard that I own a bakery, right?
I actually was going to say the visiting you thing may have just changed. I don't know. So I had a chance to
We'll get along great.
I had a chance to work for a Michelin star chef in Portland and turned it down because there's too many bridges in Portland and I can't do bridges.
No way.
My car issue is that I'm super claustrophobic.
Oh. Well, so Vermont is just as watery as a jungle. It is just water everywhere. And there's 3 rivers in Montpelier. We've got 8,000 people and 3 rivers. And so there's bridges everywhere. They're short because they're just rivers. They're not, you're not 1,000 feet up or anything like that. And the water underneath them is not deep either, unless you just have a storm or something. But there's bridges everywhere. Everywhere.
Massachusetts, when we lived there, just the foliage, I didn't realize till we got here to Idaho, and I grew up in Southern California where everything's wide open. But getting here to Idaho and having everything open, I went, oh, I had a low level of anxiety the entire time I lived in Massachusetts.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like that here. I mean, you could come here during stick season. Like there's then everything's wide open because there's no leaves. But
yeah, there we go. Okay.
So driving across the U.S. from San Diego to Mississippi, up to Philly, over to Ohio, I drove the entire time because my wife's like, I'm narcoleptic and I fall asleep if I'm driving for too long. And I'm like, great. So I'll drive the entire U.S. And She's like, oh,
Hey.
thanks. And like, she didn't fall asleep one time in the passenger seat the whole way.
Next time you gotta do that, man, you fucking call me and I will be your chauffeur because I love that shit.
Oh, I'm cool with driving. I'm just like, all right, like just drive straight, stay on the lines. And she had like her iPad, so she was like playing murder docs and stuff the whole time. So it was kind of keeping us occupied.
So, do you have any hot sauce hot takes? These are typically these are opinions that are not necessarily shared. Why are you giving me shit with so many fucking big words, bro? Like I can't enunciate shit.
I have to tell you, when I assigned these, I assigned them thinking, okay, Zach's not going to want to do this one. I'll do this one.
Zach do the desert island hot sauce one.
That's why I didn't do that.
At least I can say that shit.
Say it.
Do you have any fucking hot sauce hot takes?
Yeah, so I think hot takes are the things that like kind of annoy you, right?
Opinions that are not necessarily shared with most of the hot sauce eating public, but you feel strongly about.
So we all know that person that comes up, give me the hottest thing you got.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I recently sent Spike a message. I had a guy come up. He came in hot too. He came up real fast. Hey, give me the hottest thing you got. I was like, okay. And so I pulled out our Scarlet Fever, shook it up, gave him a spoonful. He started coughing and like eyes watering. He was scratching the top of his head. He was like, that's too hot. And I was like, well, you asked for the hottest thing I have. I was like, we have several other hot sauces that aren't that hot, a lot of other different flavors. And he goes, but I like really spicy. So I'm saying like,
clearly, you know,
like what do you want from me?
Yeah.
I can't do anything for you. So moments like that. And also I'd like to say that children are on the up and up on eating spice. Like I have kids come up and they're like, hey, I want the hottest thing you got. And I'm like, where are your parents? Like, I can't just give you the hottest thing we have. And I'll ask the parents, they're like, oh yeah, give it to him. He's the hot sauce one in the family. And I'll see kids just like, oh, that's really good. I want that. And I'm just sitting here like, yo, what is happening? Because I know I wasn't eating anything like I'm eating now when I was like 12 years old.
They're all watching Hot Ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and Spicy Cam and Jumbo Spice and all these stupid fucking TikTokers that are like eating Takis with Valentina thinking they're the goddamn Spice Kid.
Yeah.
We need to get some of them on here. That'd be fun.
No face, no reaction.
No. Fuck no.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is. Kids are trying to be like that.
I mean, I can get Nelson from Craven Capsaicin, but he's not one of those douchey people. Like, he eats seriously hot shit.
Let's do it. I think it'd be fun.
I'll ask him.
How about hot sauce show and tell? You guys ready?
Yeah.
No one else has a hot take? I have a fucking hot take.
Oh, you have a hot take. Yeah, okay.
What's your hot
Sorry.
take?
I have a fucking hot take, and I could be 1,000% wrong, and maybe Claire can, the whole net weight, thing on a bottle, net weight, 5 fluid ounces, it's either weight or it's fucking volume. I feel like it can't be goddamn both. So educate me.
I don't think it has to say net weight. It just has to say 5 fluid ounces. And when it's liquid, it can be fluid or weight. It can be either one.
Okay. Yes, 100%. But if it specifically says fluid ounces, all right, how the fuck is it net weight 5 fluid ounces?
Are you saying that people's labels are supposed to be correct?
They're supposed to be.
The net weight part is not a requirement. Just the having you have to have a standard measurement and a metric measurement. You have to have
5 fluid ounces.
5 fluid ounces is fine. You just leave off the net weight part of it.
Right.
I know, but there are people that use the net, and it drives me fucking nuts. And I don't get it. I don't get it.
Would the net weight include the bottle as well, not just the contents of the bottle?
No,
that's why it's net weight, not gross weight.
Okay.
Yeah, net weight, 5 fluid ounces, 142 grams.
I did get in trouble a long time ago. Not trouble, but I had some cookies that were underweight on the shelf, and the Department of Weights and Measures from Vermont called me up or sent me a letter, and I had to pull a bunch of stuff from the shelf. Not a ton of stuff. It was when I was still really small, but it was I I've told you guys before, I love regulators. And so I was just asking him all sorts of questions to find out what all the rules were and what all the guidelines were. And you can have any, at least in Vermont, I'm pretty sure this is federal, but you can have any amount above the weight of the item. Like, so if you can say 5 ounces and have 2 pounds in there, but you're actually allowed to have a little bit below, but it's like a fraction of a measure, it's like a batch average. And so it basically works out to be like 0.0001 below is allowable, but then any amount above is allowable, which I find really interesting.
Because these 5-ounce bottles, actually, if you weigh out the contents as you fill them, is always over 5 ounces. Always.
Yeah. And you want it to be over 5 ounces because you don't want it to be under. Like, I'd rather put 5.1 ounces in there and then not have any 4.9s that I could get in trouble for. So.
Yeah. What about the small M, capital L? How do you feel about that for milliliters?
No, I think mine's all lower.
I have. Yeah. I think I did it for a while. I don't know if I'm.
You have it. I'm looking at it right now, dude, on your fucking victory sauce.
Yeah.
Is it? I've never seen that. Is it supposed to be?
I've seen it written. It doesn't care. People do it both ways. I've seen it both ways.
Interesting. So. What about M for 1,000? Have you ever seen that? Like when you
when I first started getting labels, I'm like, what the fuck is this M, dude?
10 million labels. What the
I'm like, I didn't order that many fucking. Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? They're like, it's that Roman numeral for 1,000.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Dummy.
Does anybody else have a hot take?
I don't think I've got one.
I don't have one today.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, hot sauce show and tell. Let's do it.
All right, who's first?
You are.
You.
This guy. Okay.
The guest is always first.
Let me see. So
I don't know. He's a guest. I've seen his bare ass family at this
you're
point.
welcome, Zach. Yeah, I'm not a guest. We're real friendly to each other.
For those who don't know, you gotta fill that in because that was a before. You know what? I'm just gonna post that as the intro. Forget it. I don't have to worry about it. That whole part is going to be the intro.
All right. So mine is going to be the shore sauce, pineapple, habanero hot sauce.
And who's this by?
Shore sauce.
I don't know if I've ever heard of them.
So I think they're produced by Shore Sauce, LLC, Osbury Park, New Jersey.
Cool.
So it has pineapples, water, apple cider vinegar, bell peppers, onions, olive oil, habanero peppers, sugar, lime juice, sea salt, and garlic. So we actually ran into them at the Columbus Fiery Foods Festival. And at the very end, we had some extra sauces, and we went around to some other vendors and did some trades. And so I'm excited about this one. Are you guys gonna eat also?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like to wait to eat with my friends.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm breaking the fucking rules.
Who do you have?
Spike's been fucking talking about this goddamn sauce for like fucking 2 months after he sent it to me. You try it yet? You try it yet? You try it yet? You try it yet?
I'm worried you're gonna hate it now. I think you're gonna hate it now.
I smelled it. It smelled good. So.
Built up too much.
No, it smells very familiar to me, honestly. I feel like Big Red's has a sauce that smells like this. Okay, what you all got?
Go ahead, Claire.
I actually got Bear River Bottling. We did trade a couple episodes ago, and their peach habanero. I opened this up and I really like it. I'm not usually a big fruit hot sauce fan, but I love the fact that this is super peach forward. Peach is the first ingredient, and that they sweetened it with agave nectar, which I think is just awesome. And it makes it's really good. And I have to figure out what to use it on because, like I said, I'm not a big fruit hot sauce person, but my kids had some nachos earlier today, and I was stealing nachos off their plate and putting this on. I really like this one.
Son?
I've got.
You putting it on a spoon, or you guys?
Bear River Bottling, King of Sting.
Is that the bacon? Is that the bacon one?
Yeah, it's the bacon one.
Yeah, bacon. I like that one too. I've been having that one.
Man,
okay,
it's got some kick.
Peaches.
This almost tastes like a soup.
A soup?
Like it's very like it's very chunky. It's kind of creamy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you could literally just. I'm gonna stop drinking it before I drink it all.
I like the bits of bacon in this. That is really good in the honey. It's
So
balanced
I'm always
really well.
impressed when you guys like pop open the neck bands for the show, because when I get hot sauces at home, I have to open every single one of them and taste them, and then what I do with it from there is a whole nother thing. But I have to taste every single one, and like the fact that I have all these back here without like with neck bands on and they're unopened, it's mostly because I got at least 2 of them, and that's what's left behind.
Really? Yeah. So we have a bad habit of opening sauce and then it just sitting on our lazy Susan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We were going to do a fridge clear this weekend, but
Because of this show.
What
He's at
happened?
it again, Zach.
What?
He stood up right in front of the camera. Said he's at it again.
Zach got the back, Spike got the front. So this is my box I'm allowed. This is my box I'm allowed to bring to the dinner table.
Oh wow.
Any sauces until this box is done.
That's amazing.
That's
So-
awesome.
We got Spike's unicorn. We got some painful piri.
Oh yeah.
so I mean,
Can you do me a favor, Tamaris? I'm not going to
Yeah.
buy that sauce, but I would like to know. Add some salt to that for me, please. My biggest, I've got a
The
hot
sweet
take.
chili.
I'm going to say I've got a hot take today.
Yeah.
No, the new hot ones.
last
Oh,
dance
yeah, there's-
berries.
Yeah. There's
Okay, so if you're just going to put the hottest pepper in the world in a bottle
right.
and not add even any salt to it, and there's no salt
Right.
in it,
What?
it is might as well be it might as well be an extract as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned. You're not
Yeah,
trying to
there's-
add any flavor. You're just trying to add heat.
It does need salt. Absolutely, 100%.
You don't care about the flavor of the pepper. You just care about blowing people out. That's it.
So, yeah, so I don't really just put this on my food readily. I'll put this on a sauce that I think has good flavor and needs a little bit more heat.
Yeah, like you would with an extract. So let me ask you, if you have a moment at some point, I don't know if you have any available now, and on camera it's kind of hard, but I would love to know what that tastes like with some salt added, just to sprinkle a little salt on the spoon and give it a taste. Then you'll know what the pepper tastes like.
Yeah,
what's-
I can do
what's
that
the-
right now.
What is the point otherwise?
Let's do it.
It's just another way of
mean-
making an extract.
Pepper X is not a particularly tasty pepper.
I
I mean,
know.
I feel like Reapers taste kind of vegetal, and Pepper X tastes even more vegetal. And I mean, it's fine. You're not gonna use so much of it that it's gonna. I mean, like you're gonna put makeup. I mean, none of us are working. Well, actually, I do work with Pepper X, but none of us are making Pepper X sauces. And but you're not going to use so much of it that's the dominant flavor. You're going to be using some other flavor to carry
Oh,
the sauce.
Jesus.
Well, the thing is that you're right. But
That's a lot.
they won't use other than da bomb. They don't use extracts. My argument is this is essentially an extract. And
Yeah.
so, don't sugarcoat it. You know what? If you're going to do that,
I didn't. I salt coated it.
but yeah, what is it? It's got Pepper X, pepper, distilled vinegar, Pepper X, pepper powder, Pepper X, pepper distillate. Distillate? Distillate?
Distillate.
Yeah. At that point, it's just an extract. Essentially.
So Pepper X.
That's what you're doing. It's the
pepper,
same thing.
Distilled vinegar, Pepper X, pepper powder, Pepper X, pepper distillate.
Oh, so there actually is no salt in there.
No,
No.
there's no salt in it.
That's so weird.
That is, at
All
that
right.
point, it's not meant to enhance the flavor of anything. It is just essentially what an extract is. It isn't an extract, but it's essentially what you use an extract for.
First of all, so much better with the salt.
Probably much hotter too.
Well, I mean, I know it's gonna hit me in a second. It tastes a lot better. Yeah. Yeah, the
He-
salt helps. I mean, you
Hedonist,
guys know
forgive
you guys cook,
me.
you guys bake. Salt brings out the sweet, brings out the heat.
I like Hedonist. I like their other sauces. I think I've had a bunch of them. They've all been great. This one just bothers me. And, because
Aren't
what's the point?
aren't all of the last stabs kind of the same concept? Like the previous one was like peppers, vinegar, pepper powder, pepper distillate. I don't think there was any salt in that one.
I don't ever
They
get
pop-
the last one because I got their last one. It didn't have any salt in it. The very first one they came out with, and it was like, okay, I see what they're doing here. And
Have you guys had the gator?
Yeah. The gator
have.
So
sauce.
how is that one?
It's just fucking pepper mash in a bottle, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like it's like you were saying, Zach, it's the same thing. Like they don't have a goal to put out flavorful craft sauces. They have a goal to hurt people. Like that's all they're trying to do is like put out a sauce that's really spicy.
so Ed is known for hurting people. That's what Ed does. That's what Ed loves to do. He loves to
Right.
hurt people. That's just
Sounds like a nice guy.
yeah, he's been doing it forever. But he does now have this line. I think it's called Smoking Ed something, and it's kind of more crafty. Like that
Okay.
unique garlic is released under the Smoking Ed label, not the Pucker Butt label, and that sauce is fucking delicious.
Yeah.
He does this picnic sauce. This picnic sauce that's really good and mild compared to all this other shit. What else have I had that I really enjoyed? I don't know. There was a list of them, man. I went through like my last road trip. I stopped Fort Mills and picked up a bunch of shit, and like I consumed every fucking bottle. They were good.
Nice.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah,
Smoking,
I-
smoking Ed line. I don't know.
I've had a few of his, and they are good. I feel kind of bad. The fact of the matter is I just think it needs salt. It just needs salt.
Hey,
This is my usual thing.
You got nothing to be sorry about. You're entitled to your fucking opinion.
No, I know that, but I don't like going off on brands or anything like that. But the lack of salt in there says to me that all you're doing is adding heat to something instead of actually creating a condiment that is something. If you're having it on a wing, as they do, you should at least have some salt in it. You're under seasoning the wing if you're not. It's it's just
but ultimately that sauce isn't meant for. It's meant to hurt someone at the end of the show.
I know, but if you're gonna highlight they highlight the pepper like crazy. Show us the taste of the pepper, even if it's not great. Maybe for that person, as Claire was saying before, everybody's a little bit different. Somebody is going to like that to the taste of that pepper. Give them the chance to like it.
Right.
A little bit of salt in there goes a long way.
Yeah, it did help. I'm not super big on salt. I'm kind of like Zach. Like I want to taste the salt, but I don't want to be over salted.
Yeah, Frank's is like crazy amount of salt.
Like give you a canker sore in your mouth.
Yeah.
Tamaris, you have any questions for us?
What happened?
I just looked up Frank's. It's 190 milligrams of sodium per serving.
Jeez.
Jesus. So, yeah, I do. So, are any of you guys doing snacks, like besides just hot sauces, like any kind of snacks?
That's a Claire question.
Well, she does baking, right? So.
Well, we do a lot of things, so we don't. And you're probably thinking of like nuts and stuff like that, and we don't do any of those. We do baking. We do caramel. We do have a spicy caramel, and we do granola. We have done spicy granola before, but not putting any effort behind it. So we've got a client. We don't make it for them, but we have a client that does nuts. And yeah, I don't know. It's a whole other thing. I'm not entirely sure why. I guess we don't. Yeah. Nah, I don't have a good answer for it. We just don't. We do too many things already.
We talked about doing spicy fruit roll-ups.
Yeah.
We have the access to it, which I think would be fun.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it would be a lot for us in the setup we have. You could probably do that very easily, Claire. I think that'd be great, but it would be too hard for us.
If you're talking about dehydrators or.
Yeah, I thought you have to bake those. I don't know. I've never done it.
I think it's dehydrated
Is it?
stuff, but and we do spices. We do spices like at a small scale. We've been doing that recently.
But-
So you said you have a client that does nuts. So you guys make it for them?
No, we've got a client who used to make all of his own products, and then he outsourced the sauce to us. So he still does he's a maple syrup company. So he does his maple syrup products, and then he does the nuts in his ovens, but we make all of his sauces.
Okay. And then not a question, but an idea for you. So I know you guys are talking about doing your $100 sauce.
Yes.
I think it would be cool if when you guys have guests on, they give you one ingredient that they think you should put in it.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
and then you guys can compile at the end all the ingredients.
You're
I mean-
insinuating that there's going to be an end to this podcast.
Maybe
That's
that's
not promising for us.
so maybe
We're going
compile.
there.
Wait. Maybe compile it until you guys come up like maybe a year's worth or something. Or
That's a lot of ingredients.
well, it's $100. No,
That's
it's only 350 ingredients. 365.
No,
Yeah.
that would be 52.
52.
That's still a
Makes-
lot of ingredients.
Yeah.
We make some
Okay,
sauces that have
so
like 35.
Maybe
I
you
think-
can vote on them then.
I
Compile a
like.
bunch of ingredients and then vote on the ones that have been compiled.
I think it's a great idea. I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. If we have a pool of stuff and we can pick from it. Yeah. I think it's a great
Yeah.
idea.
And then you can even
I like the idea of trying to include as many of the ingredients as possible.
Oh.
yeah. So what you can do is you can so when I'm making new sauces, I'll like send them out to friends and family with a little like questionnaire type of thing. Like, oh, do you think it should be called this? Do you taste this in it, or do you mostly taste this in it? So you can make a little questionnaire type of thing and just be like, hey, pick your top 10 ingredients from this list and post it or send it out or whatever and see what you get back the most.
I plan on doing a hot sauce challenge video that's separate from this, just for our page, where I have our fans try and stump me and throw like crazy ingredients out, and I have to make a hot sauce out of it. I thought that would be fun to do for just videos and have people taste it. That kind of sounds a little bit like that.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, and I agree with that. I think we definitely should do it, but we kind of glossed over on your last question. You had started talking about the nuts, and I need to tell you, you sent me the spicy nuts that you do, and
Yep.
they were gone in less than a half an hour, completely gone. They're
You
so
got
good.
You got Tamaris's nuts all up in your mouth.
Yeah, I all up in my mouth and loved it. They were as spicy as you'd imagine.
Zach's jealous. He just got a left cheek.
Really, really,
I'll tell
really
you-
good, dude.
I'll take the booty shot, man.
We always knew that about you, Zach.
A butt guy. Boy's butt.
You take the butt, I'll take the nuts.
All right, guys, settle down. I'm
Yeah,
taking. I'm
That's
married
it. There you go.
to my
I
hot
mean-
wife.
So am I. So am I.
And you know what? I also, if you guys don't mind, I want to say something about the $100 hot sauce. Claire, you have to be a part of that.
Sure.
It has to be.
Well, I think if we're going to be putting, 52 ingredients in it, we're going to need a large kettle for it.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so this is my beef with this $100 hot sauce, Claire. This motherfucker wants to make like 50 bottles. I'm
That's
like,
it.
bro, I don't know how to make 50 bottles. Like, what does that even fucking mean?
Okay, so here's my question: how many ingredients do you put in a bottle now?
It depends. Well, on a Spike sauce or a Zac sauce or even a Claire sauce
or
is even
Claire
less.
sauce.
Claire has like 4.
I do between 3 and 10. 10 is
wow.
probably the most of one of our sauces.
Okay.
The most ingredients I ever put in a sauce was the cafe mole I did for Brian. I mean, that's got like 29 ingredients or some shit.
Yeah, we've got 34
Okay.
in our mole.
And how much do you guys retail those for?
I mean, $15.
So 50 something ingredients for 100
So
versus 30
It's probably
something for
still 5
15?
ounces, though.
yeah, we're
Once you
going
compile it all together, blend it all together.
we're going quality, like fucking high dollar vinegars, like vinegars that are $300 a gallon. You know
Have you-
what I mean?
Yeah, have you
Oh,
guys looked at the price of like really expensive soy sauces? Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I recently saw a video of how soy sauce is made. That's
No, I don't
insane.
want to know. I don't want to know. I don't
No,
want
it's
to know.
amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I like the idea of compiling lots of expensive ingredients. Like I like the idea of having people suggest sauces or suggest an ingredient. Choose your one ingredient, and then we compile them all together, and then choose the best subset out of them, and pull them together into a sauce. I think that sounds fantastic.
I think that's great.
But what that means, Claire, is that you and I have to travel to Idaho because he's the only one that can do this 50 bottle micro.
Claire can do it
batch.
too.
Oh, I can do tiny batches.
Yeah.
I can
I'm
do
just-
I can do
I'm-
Our first batches used to be 15 bottles. That's what we'd sell at the farmer's market. We do little 15 bottle batches.
Yeah, I remember those days.
It's just an
We didn't even have
excuse
neck
to
cans.
have our businesses pay for us to go to Vermont.
Yeah.
Business expense.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's
I know
part of
business expense isn't as cool when you own the business.
it's true.
I mean, it is at the end of the year when you didn't technically make any money, so you don't have to pay any tax.
So Zach's gonna have to drive to get Spike because Spike's not driving to Zach.
Oh,
Zach
I would
drives.
fly to Vermont. I am not driving to Vermont.
Come on, man. It's half the fucking fun. You get to see Zach 24 hours, no sleep, cracked out on coffee, just
Road trip with the boys.
I love you, Zach, and I want to continue to love you.
You'll be able to talk to him for way more than 2 hours.
Honestly, on a road trip, I'd rather be by myself because I don't want anybody to talk to me. I just want to fucking be on the road and not
Be able to
think
scream
about
out your
fucking
Adele songs.
anything.
I would
Taylor
be
Swift,
like,
man, get it right. Taylor Swift.
I would be like, I spy, and Zach would be like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, 100%. Like the clown.
and pokey. Zach's like, it's a cactus.
Here's
Not in Vermont.
well, and out here, but here's the other thing too. It doesn't matter. I always get pulled over in Oklahoma because I have Arizona plates, and they think I'm trafficking drugs and money every fucking time, multiple, not just once, multiple times.
Well,
Well,
they
last
ever
time-
opened up your
We're a
bottles?
tourist state. We're a tourist state, so we get all the plates.
Yeah.
Well, traveling the 40, it's a huge corridor for drug traffickers and shit, and I get it. But because I have Arizona plates, and every time I get pulled over, you want to know I get pulled over for? Yes.
Vicious activity, swerving, driving too slow.
Not wearing a seatbelt.
A motherfucking turn signal violation. And what that turn signal violation is, I did not put my turn signal on 100 feet before I switched lanes.
Jeez.
The last fucking cop I looked at him, I was like, what was your device to measure this 100-foot distance that I supposedly didn't go? He didn't like me very much.
Yeah.
I sat in the back of his car for a while.
Zach's like, not again.
I just like, how the fuck do you, dude, I'm going 65 miles an hour, so that's like more than 88 feet per second because it's 60 miles an hour. I mean, it's simple fucking math. 60 miles an hour is 88 feet per second. So if you're telling me it took me more than 1 second, or, you know, I didn't have my turn signal on for more than 1 second, go fuck yourself.
One last thing I'd like to say is I'd like to say that the thing that the ingredients that people include can be an ingredient or a process.
Yeah.
Huh.
Bro, I thought we already figured that out. We're pushing everything through Chinois.
We are. Yeah, absolutely.
Motherfucker, dude.
No. Actually, here, point of
Point of order.
I have a Roboku mill. Have you guys used these?
No.
The food mill from Roboku. So we just got this, and I don't know where it's been all my life. And it, you know, so we used to de-stem everything, and then everything would have stem seeds and skin and all of that. And then pandemic hit, and we couldn't get staff, and so we froze everything with the stem on, and we needed to run it through a mill to remove the stem. And we were using this awful tomato mill for the longest time, and we used to burst open the screens and all these problems. Finally got this just beautiful Roboku C120, I think it is, and it removes everything. The chaff that comes out of that thing is bone dry, tasteless, bland. It is everything you don't want. It leaves everything good in there. You don't need a chinois. This thing just goes whoop, and the whole thing is just separated. Everything's just separated. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. Highly recommend.
Is this? No, this can't be the consistency of your sauces is insane. It is so.
I was actually going to ask. Sorry, Spike. Go ahead.
Oh, I mean, it is. Claire, nobody does that. Nobody does that.
So it depends on which sauce you're talking about, because sometimes we still put stem off whole peppers in our sauces. And then other times we run them through the mill. And we got this mill, it's been a few months now. So chances are you've gotten sauces that have gone through the mill, through that mill. and not the old one.
You know what, that
But,
makes sense because some of them aren't quite the same, and I know that they've got
Yeah.
just about the same simplicity of ingredients, and so
Yeah.
I've noticed it. But I just sit there and do this, and I'm like, "Jeez, I mean, beautiful, beautiful consistency."
Onions are really good emulsifiers.
Yeah.
So, and we
Which
use a lot of
brings me to
onions.
my next. The ingredient I want you to
Oh,
use
Yes.
You're still here?
is I'm not the voice of God, Zach. Maui onion.
Oh,
Oh,
now can it? Okay, no, you know what? You said Maui onion. Maui onion's going on the list. I'm starting a document right now.
yeah.
Maui
Keep
onion.
the
How-
share it.
How do you? I mean, the shipping alone is going to make this $100 hot sauce.
Okay, then we have.
Well,
Like-
what about those Hawaiian pineapples? I've always wanted one.
From Dole.
No, the ones that don't ship off the island that are like
Yeah, so you get a lot of the Hawaiian pineapples are from the Dole plantation.
okay.
So the plantation is probably about 30 minutes from me. That's actually where I get my pineapples from, and it's a lot cheaper here than it is to like ship them. But I think I get pineapples for about $3.50 a pound.
Yeah, I mean, where I'm in Vermont. So I grew up in California and I could get a lot of tropical produce there.
Yeah.
I grew up in Berkeley. And then I came to Vermont and I was like, why does this mango taste like a pine tree?
The avocados in the East are awful.
No,
Sounds
actually
terrible.
though, I have figured that out. It depends on where they're coming from. The Mexican ones are better. And so it depends on the season.
Yeah, that's true.
There's one variety that tastes like water and it's just horrendous. And there's another one that's nice and luscious and fatty. But they're always hard. You can only buy them hard from the store. But I have discovered that you can ripen them on the counter and then put them in the fridge. And so that's what we do. And they will keep in the fridge soft and beautiful for weeks. So
We have
That's-
avocados here called buttery avocados.
Oh, the
those the
really
big
waxy
ones?
ones? Yeah, I've had those.
Yeah, when you cut them open, they're just like it's literally like scooping butter with
Yeah.
a spoon.
when I was a kid,
brilliant.
we used to just we made salsa boats where we just cut open an avocado and put salsa in the middle and then eat it with a chip. miss that.
Yes,
Okay, question.
that could be
Claire.
your
You
last
said-
meal.
You said Roboku C120?
I think it's a C120. I can look. So there's two models. There's a bigger one and a smaller one. We got the bigger one, but what got me to buy it was another sauce maker here in Vermont who was using the smaller version. And we were talking at a birthday party. It was a first grader birthday party. And I was lamenting my mill issues and he was like, "Oh, you should get the Roboku one. I've been using that one for like 10 years and it's great." And I was like, "Oh crap."
It is the C120 because the C80 is the smaller one.
That's
Well,
right,
there's
yep.
a C120 and then there's a C120A.
Well, that's I think just 3-phase versus 1-phase, I think.
Okay.
Got it.
I think that's the only difference.
Okay. So what do you do with all the byproducts from that?
Me?
Yeah.
So back when we were using the tomato mill, the byproduct was actually pretty tasty and it was like a vinegar pepper thing and we made hot sauce powder. So we actually are selling that on our website right now because we still have some of the old chaff. The new chaff is just dry and gross. So we mostly compost it. But I have a friend,
Oh.
the guy who sold us our original like 800 or gave us the original 800 pounds of peppers that got us going. And he loves finding ways to use waste stream things. So he puts them on his plants to keep pests away.
Oh, that's
Oh.
awesome. Yay. I love that.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So, I mean, he doesn't take all of ours. Mostly we compost it, but he does every once in a while. He'll come by and just like pick up some buckets and throw them on his garden.
Oh, that's
Hmm.
awesome.
I wonder what would happen if you were to dehydrate that and then make a chili oil out of it.
Well, there's not a lot of chili left on it. It is really just like the skins and stem and seeds. Like it's because like I said, the old one that we had left over was like really fantastic. It had this nice bit of vinegar and the chili and that all came across. We ground into a powder. It's super tasty. But now there's just so little left that it's kind of just dry.
Makes sense because the consistency. Oh my God.
Yeah. So I made this sriracha for this chef out of Phoenix. How Spike got the idea to push everything through a fucking chinois because I opened my big ass mouth. And I took the leftover byproduct from that and dehydrated it and then made chili oil out of it. It was really good.
Yeah. 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 No, that sounds.
Well, I love some
that
chili
sounds
oil.
good.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing about it.
I don't like chili oil.
It's because you haven't had good chili oil.
No, I've had good chili. No, sorry. Actually, you know what? I don't like chili crisp. I don't. That's what I don't like.
I like
it just
chili
gets
crisp.
stuck in my teeth and makes me angry.
If it's like burnt, it'll ruin the whole thing, especially.
Yeah, it's
Oh
true.
yeah,
Like,
because you're
you know,
not. Yeah, there's a way to do it the where you're not like constantly cooking the shit that's gonna be in the
Yeah.
jar. Like, no comment.
We should get the Zindru's people on here.
Not giving away secrets, man. Not giving away secrets.
Don't worry, I'll DM you.
There you go.
Not DM all you want. I ain't giving away.
I'll offer you the right cheek.
There's no turning that down, Zach.
How
I know
long-
how to
I
get
guess
to
what's
Zach.
Zach's price?
How long do you think your fucking phone was on that phone call before you realized it?
Oh crap! I don't know. I hope not long. I think I saw a lot. Let's hope that was all.
Traumatized for fucking life. I never want to answer another messenger call for as long as I live.
All right, we
You
gotta
are
wrap this up,
welcome.
you guys. We gotta.
I'm
wrap
just
this up.
fucking with you, man. I'm just.
Tamaris, thank you so much. This has been so much fun.
Yes, it's been awesome. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great to talk to you.
Yeah.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Bless you.
Flavor Balance Heat, the podcast for hot sauce lovers and makers, was brought to you by Irish Spike's Unique Hot Sauces, High Desert Sauce Co., and Vandal Pepper Sauces. This is a Spike Mine Media production.